have you considered having a smart meter? Oh, they look lovely in the hallway or in the living room, somewhere where you can walk by and just have a little look and see how much energy you're using. They're great, aren't they? Your utility company, your electricity company, probably been badgering you for some time, and maybe you've got one. Maybe you're very, very happy with it. Or maybe, like me, you're somewhat skeptical. Do I really need such a thing? Do I really want one in my house? Is it really going to help me? Or is it going to help the utility company or even the government? I don't know. It's a bit of a conundrum, isn't it? Well, it's interesting because there's an open letter that's been passed to me, and you might think twice after reading a little bit of this open letter. It's quite long. I'm going to read sections from it so it doesn't completely bore you, but we'll try and make it available so that you can download it yourself. Perhaps, you may want to send this to your MP and ask them whether this is a good thing, because there is an energy bill coming in which it seems will make it mandated to have one of these things, that they can force entry and force a smart meter on you. Smart anything has been one of those things that had been worrying people. Smart motorways, for example, which turned out to be a bit of a dead end idea. Let's have a look at this and see who it's from and to whom it is. So this is from the EM Radiation Research Trust. EM radiation, electromagnetic radiation. So they might know a thing or two. There is a contact address, of course. Now, interestingly, this has been sent here to the Right Honourable Claire Coutinho, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, MP, Secretary of State for Energy, Security and Net Zero at the House of Commons. I should just remind you, of course, that is a for-profit corporation, just so that we have no doubt that we are dealing with not so much a government that is there as an administration for us, but a corporation to extract as much money out of the public as is possible. I'd just like to make that absolutely clear, because some people think that, voting for a government is voting for a kind, benevolent bunch of people who've got our best interests at heart. But if it's a corporation, a dead entity registered at Dun and Bradstreet, perhaps it's really just there for profit purposes and not so much for us ordinary, everyday, human type people. Anyway, let's go back to this. And it was dated on the 18th of September, so only a few days ago, really. And it's for the attention of, as I say, the Right Honourable Claire Coutinho, MP, and it's a letter of complaint against the UK energy bill. As I say, I won't read all of it. You can download this and read it at your leisure. The EM Radiation Research Trust charity is deeply concerned about the UK Parliament energy bill. You can go online and download that and look at it. There's a PDF here in the letter which shows you where to go. The energy bill will force the introduction of smart energy regulations upon citizens throughout the UK, with threats of enforcement, prohibitions and sanctions against customers who refuse to comply. Smart meters are known to carry health risks. There are concerns that smart meters are fire hazards, and there are also concerns for privacy via the unauthorized surveillance monitoring of items within private homes. We do know that people have those devices which you can talk to and ask it to play music, or perhaps ask it what the weather is doing, or even give you spelling, I think they can do. Even these devices, these black mirror devices commonly known as phones, have a surveillance technology built into them. The modern ones, of course, are recording your biometrics. They're taking photographs of you. They possibly are recording any other information that you tap into it naturally. And it has a microphone in there so it can record your voices. So somewhat of a concern. But let's carry on with this letter. The public are rightly concerned about threats for non-compliance with the introduction of enforcement with huge fines or even prison sentences for members of the public who refuse smart meters. Utilities and government officials who use such threats could be committing an assault and trespass against innocent tax-paying citizens within their own private homes. And that is a bit of a worry if you feel that you have to let somebody in and that you have to have something which is radiating in your house potential danger to you. Let's have a look and see what these dangers might be a little bit further on in the letter. If I just scroll down here, many people, just so you can see, here we are, this is where we are. Many people suffering from electrosensitivity live in remote areas or attempt to shield against this form of radiation and often become prisoners in their own home. Smart meters and smart appliances will offer no place to hide. Members of Parliament have a duty to uphold the law, including the general law against discrimination. What sort of society are we consigning those who are suffering from electrosensitivity to live their lives in pain, enforced poverty and isolation? It goes on then to explain a little bit about the suffering from electrosensitivity. It does say that a survey shows that 1.2% of the general population are severely affected, 3 to 8% are moderately affected by radiation from these sort of things, and 30% slightly sensitive, and 100% are subconsciously sensitive. You can go and see the details of all of that. Now, this is the next bit I want to come to in this letter. The UK EM Radiation Research Trust would like to remind energy suppliers that a smart meter is not a legal requirement. And there's the code of questions and things. And one of the questions, the Retail Energy Code, one of the questions is a smart meter compulsory? No. The government requires that smart meters are offered by energy suppliers to all small businesses and homes, but smart meters are not a legal requirement. Therefore, it's not compulsory to have a smart meter installed, and whether you accept one is entirely up to you. You make the decision. You see, like in all things, this is a question of consent. Do you consent to what the government are suggesting very heavily in many cases, as we saw with perhaps a medical intervention that was offered to us, and a lot of people felt pressured that they had to take it when they didn't? You don't have to consent. I stress that because this is very important. Let us continue with this and see where it takes us. So energy suppliers should abide by the government recommendations allowing customers the right to opt out of accepting a smart meter in favour of an analogue meter without any penalty. And that is absolutely quite right. And if we go down a little bit further, Andrew Wright, the interim chief executive, I believe, of Ofgem, says suppliers have already taken some steps to make energy markets simpler for customers, and we welcome that. But our package of reforms means that they must go further. So let us see what the Radiation Research Trust, which hand-delivered a copy of the Smart Meters, Smart Practices report directly to number 10 Downing Street, said, and this report highlights a couple of interesting things. First, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 5. No one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. And that is an absolute essential. It is law, it is legislation, so they shouldn't be doing that. And Article 7, this goes on to say, all are equal before the law and are entitled, without any discrimination, to equal protection of the law. All are entitled to equal protection against any discrimination in violation of this declaration and against any incitement to such declaration. So again, very, very strong words indeed that the government has got to remember. And the EM Radiation Research Trust would like to draw your attention to the cancer classification by the World Health Organization themselves. We often talk about the World Health Organization. They seem to have a treaty in which they would like to take away our sovereignty, and that's going through at the moment. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But let's see what the attention is to the cancer classification. It says here that smart meter and smart appliances use RF, radio frequency radiation. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, the IARC, is a subgroup of the World Health Organization with its role to monitor and identify global causes of cancer. In 2011, members of the International Agency of Research on Cancer classified the entire radio frequency, electromagnetic frequency, RF EMF, spectrum as 2B, possible human carcinogen. The Radiation Research Trust would like to reinforce the fact that members of the International Agency of Research on Cancer, with collective judgment, found scientific consensus in reaching the decision, and that was that it had possible human carcinogen. And so let's have a look and see what goes on, what doctors say that could affect people. So here we go. Many doctors and scientists are now calling for an urgent upgrade on the classification of radio frequencies, electromagnetic frequencies, from 2B, what we just saw in the previous bit, possible human carcinogen, to a group 1, a known carcinogen, the same category as tobacco. We all know that tobacco causes cancer. And the Dr. Hardell, one of the doctors involved in this, said the agent is carcinogenic to humans. And here we go. Here's some of the things that you can get. Some of the most commonly reported symptoms: headaches, insomnia, fatigue, tinnitus, heart arrhythmia, palpitations, disease, decreased immune function, irritability, and decreased cognitive function. Doesn't sound very healthy to me, having one of these radiating smart meters in your house. There is more on all of this, and it goes on and goes on and goes on, and it's fascinating to see all of this. The Radiation Research Trust called on the Right Honourable Claire Coutinho, if I've got her name correct, MP, Secretary of State for Energy Security and Net Zero and Ofgem, to answer the following questions. And these are interesting. It's a notice of freedom of information. And the questions are, under the Freedom of Information Act 2000, the Environmental Information Regulations, you are required, this is to the MP, to answer the following. So it'd be interesting to know if she does answer these questions. So number 1, please answer yes or no only. Does the energy supplier hold any commercial public liability insurance policies that include liability coverage for claims directly or indirectly arising out of or resulting from or contributed to by the electromagnetic fields, electromagnetic radiation, electromagnetism, wireless radio frequency radiation, microwave radiation, and or non-ionizing radiation? Public liability insurance policies, do they have it? This is just a simple yes or no. will do. There are another interesting range of questions. I won't go into them all, but they take the same basic thing. Who is liable at the end of the day? And if not, is it legal to not have that public liability insurance? And it says here, failure to supply proof of indemnity for the wireless RF EMF radiation proves, now remember this is failure to supply proof, proves that indemnity for wireless RF EMF radiation through the energy supplier's commercial public liability insurance does not exist. So if they can't supply the proof, it means it does not exist, because they have been requested and they have to come and give the evidence. And then it just finishes off. It's not our intention to harass, intimidate, offend, conspire, blackmail, coerce, or cause anxiety, alarm, or distress. Of course not. This notice of liability and the enclosed information are presented with honourable and peaceful intentions and are expressly for your benefit to provide you with due process, due diligence, and an opportunity to remedy this most serious matter. And take notice, it says here in bold capitals, you have been fairly and equitably foreknoticed and forewarned. And it's important that they have been given notice, equitably, fairly and equitably. So there we go. And it's signed Eileen O'Connor, Director of the EMREF Radiation Research Trust. And there's a website at the bottom. It is an open letter. You may want to download it. Give me some time and I should get it onto my website, and I'll put the link in the description. If it's not there immediately when you look, it will be. Just come back and you can find it. You may wish to download it, print it off, and send a copy to your MP and ask them if they would put pressure on the government to answer these questions which they have been requested. Are smart meters really a good idea? Are they a health risk? And what about the indemnities for public liability? Have they all been taken on board? I just thought I'd bring that to you. I hope that's of interest. I will talk to you very soon.